Today I'm going to show you how to make this heart. The stitches we're going to be using is single crochet and treble and slip stitches. What you will need is wool of your color, choice of color. I'm using here double knit. You will need a crochet hook. For this wool double knit, I am going to be using a 5mm hook. If you use thinner wool, you will use a smaller size hook, and if you use thicker wool, you'll use a thicker hook. The wool, that when you buy wool, it comes with a paper wrapper, and then they will give you the instructions of what hook size you to use, what knitting needle size, if it's 100% cotton, acrylic, or a mix of the two. And it also gives you the gauge and the tension, and some brands of wool give you the grams and the yards or meters, and some just give you the grams. Care instructions on washing your finished product. Right, to start the heart, you will need to chain 8, slip stitch to start. Let me just focus this a bit better. There we go. Okay. We're going to start our heart by chaining 8. 1, 2, 8. We'll just double check. 2, 4, 6, 8. To make it a bigger heart or a smaller heart, always make sure you chain a even number, a multiple of 2, because you need an odd number to make the bump part of the heart. Sorry, that did come out funny. Yes, to make the bumps of the heart, you need to have an odd number, because we're going to work in down the side of our square that we make. I'll show you. You'll see now as we go along. For the first row, you're going to single crochet in every chain starting from the second chain, because the first chain is your turning chain. So we just single crochet down the chains. For the next row, we chain 1, turn our work, and single crochet in all the single crochets of the previous row. Okay, the second row, we're going to repeat the second row another 5 times to make a block of 7 rows with 7 stitches in. So we chain 1 and we turn to work across all the single crochets of the previous row, and this row will make it row 3. We need to have a total of 7 rows. If you are unsure as to how to do a single crochet, I do have a tutorial on how to do single crochets. Now we're going to do the 4th row. Don't forget your turning chain of 1, otherwise your work is going to pucker and form a bowl shape rather than lie flat. So we have 4 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 1 to make the 5th row. Fifth row, chain 1, turn to make the 6th row, and then we'll have 1 more row left and we can start shaping the heart. Let's get some more. Two, 4, 6. Right, when you finish with the 7th row, just double check if I've got 7, 2, 4, 6, 7. Okay. How you count rows with single crochet, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but there is almost like a ridge. So there's the ridge, then a little bit of piece, and there's another ridge, and then a piece, and then another ridge. The ridge separates 2 rows, so it's 2 rows and then a ridge. Don't know if you can see. Can you see that it's, so there's the one ridge, and there's another one, and then there's another one just short of the top. That marks 2 rows. Single crochet always falls like that. If you work into the top of the stitches, then it will fall like this. If you do single crochet but you work a different way, or only in the back loop or only in the front loop, it has a different look to it. But that is how you can see the rows. So there's 2, 4, 6, 7 rows. Okay, we got to the end of our 7th row. Instead of chaining 1 and turning your work, we are going to do the treble down the side. How we're going to do it is we're going to do 7 trebles in the 4th row. So it's, I know it's that one, says 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one. 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one there. Don't know if you can see it clearly. There's 1, 2. See if I can get it easier for you. So no, it's a bit bad. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just make sure you don't count this little stitch here, because that's not a row. It's a stitch of the previous row. Of the first row, it's a stitch. So there's 1 row, 2 rows. I don't know if it's coming out clear enough for you to see. It's 1, 2, 3, and that little one, 4. And 1, 2, 3, and there's number 4 again. No matter which way you count, you should get 4th row, the 4th. Well, it's 7 divided into 2. There. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but you need to do a treble. It's 1, 2. Insert it into the 4th stitch. Wind over and pull through 2. Wind over, pull through 2, and do that a third time. We're going to do 7 of these in the same stitch. If you count and you get your fourth one, let's say your fourth one you count is here, you divided it in, that's how you manage to count it, and you get 1 stitch down, it won't make such a difference. It's not going to be so noticeable. So if you make a mistake and you count one row short or 1 row extra, it's not going to really make a big problem to your heart, because you're going to keep working in the 1 stitch and then you're just going to slip it into that side. So I'll show you how I'm going to do it now. If you make a mistake with counting the rows, it's not such a big thing. It takes practice, but you'll get it. So we've done 1 treble. We're going to do another 6 trebles in the same place. Oh, sorry, I'm out of focus. Don't know if you can hear those birds in the background. Some geese have noticed some form of danger and they're squawking their heads off. Probably a cat. You just see I've got 2, 4, 6, 1 more. Okay, you're going to have this fan looking protrusion on the side of your square you've made. What we do is we slip stitch it in the first stitch of the first row. So yeah, it is the first stitch. No, it's not, so it's the last stitch. It's the first chain you made. So first chain, last stitch of the previous row, or of the first row. So where you made the slip knot. Sorry about confusing you like that. So we just slip stitch into the first chain you made when you started your now down the side here, this is the chain row. I'm just going to turn this a bit so we're not in the light so you can see it a bit better. This is the foundation chain, and there should be 7 stitches. In the 4th stitch from the hook, we're going to do another 7 trebles into that stitch. This one should be a lot easier to count because we started with a chain 8 and you worked in the 2nd chain from the hook and you crocheted across the chain to the end. So there should be 7 stitches. So you just count, this is the first stitch that you just slip stitched in. Sorry, this is going to be a little bit hard again. I don't know if you can see. So it is 1 stitch, 2, 3, 4. There should be 4 from this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you see? I don't know if I'm making any. It's very difficult to see. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep coming. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. The 4th one there. Don't know if you can see. It's pretty awkward. You can see where the stitches have been worked. If that makes any sense. Remember not to count the first chain. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there. You'll just have to count. And the same thing goes for this side and for this side. If you count 1 stitch too much or 1 stitch too little, and you do your 7 trebles in it, it won't really affect the heart, the finished heart. You won't notice it unless you look to see if you've done a mistake. So we're going to do 7 treble in the fourth chain, the fourth stitch, which is that one. Just make sure when you count from the side, I did it just now, I don't know if you noticed, but I counted the first chain as a stitch when I shouldn't have counted it. The turning chain, I should have counted the stitch, not the chain. I'm going to give you the written pattern as well, and you can see which one works better for you. Some people find it easier to follow through a YouTube, some find it easier to work through diagrams, and some prefer to use the written pattern. And not one way is better than another way, it's just personal preference. Two, 4, 5. Oh, sorry. One more. I should have 7 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you slip stitch into the first stitch, and you can finish off. There's the heart. I'm going to show you in the next tutorial on how to put a finishing border onto your heart. You can leave it without a border, or you can put a border on of a contrasting color, but I'm going to show you how to put a border on, but I'm going to stick to the same color as the heart. But you can put any color you want. You can even use you get wool with a glitter in, or specks, like different color specks. Then you can just use that to go do the borders. Alright, see you next time for the borders.